Hey, it's Tom. And now that you've got your private label product ideas down on paper using the research methods, and you've already decided on your positioning and brand, we're going to look at 7 proven ways to find private label product suppliers. And the easiest method, obviously, is to use the world's largest database, which is Google. So you just type in private label manufacturer and then type in your keyword. This is so simple, guys, so just some useful tips here to help you locate suppliers. So once you have your product, if you were selling the example we were using earlier, a yoga mat, you just type in private label manufacturer yoga mat, or type in private label yoga mat, or you could even search for private label supplier or private label wholesale. You can also, instead of using the word private label, you can type in white label. So you can, instead of private label yoga mat, just type in white label yoga mat. Search trade directories is another method. Obviously, go to Alibaba.com. You've probably heard of it, but we've been using Alibaba for years before it got that big. So definitely worth checking out Alibaba. You can search on Alibaba and other trade directories. You can search for OEM manufacturer. OEM means that they will make the product to your specification, and they will be able to change it for you if they are an OEM manufacturer. So you can search trade directories for OEM manufacturers. And another way to find suppliers is to maybe look at local contacts, local businesses in your area. Maybe cottage industry businesses. By cottage industry, I mean the small home shop manufacturers, or maybe you're even interested in becoming a home cottage industry business yourself. The kind of business I'm talking about is maybe a business that makes handmade soaps, things like that. So there are 7 easy ways and proven ways to find private label suppliers. Now it's probably easier if I show you some examples. Okay, so here is the argan oil product we're using as an example. Let's see if we can find a manufacturer to make an argan oil product ourselves. So I'll go over to Google, I'll type in private label argan oil. Now you can use the different search methods in Google. I've put the apostrophes around. It will only search for the full complete phrase, so it's not going to give me derivatives of this search term. So that's another little trick. You can put apostrophes around it. Now here are the results. So let's open private label argan oil Alibaba, let's open the top 3, see what they say. This looks like a health and beauty supplier, manufacturing private label, distributors. So they have new product development, so it looks like these guys will create different products with argan oil for you. Let's have a look on the second search result, which is Alibaba.com. Okay, all these suppliers, different bottles, different types of packaging. Okay, so there's a lot of people here you can contact. And if you want to make something really stand out, say we want a nice decorative bottle. Decorative bottles, all different bottles here, world of bottles, coloured bottles. Now my Google is set to .co.uk. Here's another little trick for you. Get the plugin. If you're outside the US, or you want to look, if you're doing research in other countries, if you want to sell into the UK or Australia and you're selling to other countries, you can get this plugin for Google Chrome. It's called SEO Global for Google Search. Search Google for SEO Global for Google Search, install the plugin, and then you can just switch between search results. You can switch between different countries. I'll show you how that works as well. So let's go back to decorative bottles. I'm looking on google.co.uk because my browser is set to that because I was researching something in the UK. If I want to simply switch to the US, I'll click my little plugin on my browser, click USA. And now it's giving me the search results for decorative bottles in the US. Here's a nice little trick for you. Again, in Australia, I can click to the search results in Australia. Suppliers in Australia. Okay, so let's have a look in the US and the UK for the purpose of this example. And look at these different bottles for different brand designs. Okay, so we're not even looking at €1. These are priced in euros because we're on a European site, but not even €1 to buy a bottle. And then you can send these bottles to these guys. We'll package it up for you, and get your designer, get your label on it, and this one is selling at what, $15.97. So if we can get a jar bottle for $1, and we can get the argan oil in bulk, 65 kilo drum for, I'm sure there'd be a big saving if you bought the product in bulk. $15.97. We're on to a really good start if we can get the majority of the product is the packaging, and that costs $1 or less than €1. Let's have a look on the US site, bottles, decorative bottles and jars. I'll have a look on these other sites as well. Those are really decorative bottles, aren't they? Speciality bottle. This looks like a good site, got a lot of different options and choices. So let's try and find a spray bottle on here. Plastic's always, I always prefer plastic to glass. Obviously with glass you've got more packaging to put around it, and there's more chance of it being damaged. So if you can get plastic bottles, that's always a bonus. But you've got aluminium bottles as well, slimline aluminium. So you've got aluminium bottles with different caps available. The caps are probably interchangeable, so it's the same bottle with different caps applied. You've got a sprayer bottle, you've got a dispenser type bottle, different sizes, nice decorative label on there. You've got your argan oil product ready to go. Lime glass Fiji bottle there. I'm sure that kind of bottle will be more desirable to someone than the aluminium bottle, depending on your market and your target person. Remember your brand avatar. Okay, so that's an example of how to find suppliers really easily. Okay, so let's have a little informal look over my shoulder now, as we'll look at a few examples in the spreadsheet that we've supplied, and just highlight some of the points that we've already touched on within the course. Let's take a look. Okay, so here are a few examples that I've got in a spreadsheet here. Now, it wouldn't make sense to go ahead and actually use these exact products to develop a private label for, unless they already fit within your brand. We've already touched on the yoga mat, but I'm going to look at these other examples now. So let's open this listing on Amazon, an acupressure mat. Now I just want to show some examples of the opportunity here. So let's have a look at this mat here. A Milliard Therapeutic Acupressure Mat on at $19.99. Looks like a very similar mat here, $21.99. Different styles, and this one here looks very similar as well. So let's open those and take a look. Therapeutic Acupressure Mat at $19.95. So if we go over and look at one of our main trade directories, put acupressure mat, and straight away we've got the same products coming up. Let's have a look at this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. So FOB, that means the price. So there's no price on the first one, but there's on the second one you're looking at between $5 and $7. What I'm looking for is whether it's OEM, and I can see there OEM orders are welcome. So custom designs and OEM orders are welcome. So you've got a straight away we've got an acupressure mat, and we can put our own logo on there. And it looks like these guys are already doing this. So they've put Milliard brand on there, that's a brand name, and they're just selling it at $19.99. And obviously we've just seen straight away we can get the same product with our custom label on for between $5 and $7 a piece, depending on the quantity. But again, if that's too much to order for a new product, then you can go to AliExpress and see if you can get maybe a lower quantity to start with. But that's just one example straight away that we've found a private where you can private label to this your own brand. If you had a brand that encompasses some sort of reason to include one of these mats, maybe, for example, maybe if you're in the sports and fitness niche, and this could be some kind of a recovery mat. It could be again with a yoga, massage, spa, anything like that. Easily branded, and you can tell that some guys are already doing this here, selling at $30 a mat, and we've just seen we can get it as low as $5. Definitely some good profit margin there. So this kind of brand, you can see what he's selling. Hemingway brand mats yoga here. So he's using the yoga example. Push-up bars, gym bar, exercise equipment. The other guy, he's got Millard mattress. So this looks like a comfort and mattresses. He looks like he's selling things to do with home comfort. Yeah, he's got some health products in there. Knee support brace. So the brand could be more targeted. Yeah, obviously he's branded everything under his main brand. I tend to feel that your brand is best targeted to, like we discussed in other videos, but obviously he's doing well with all these private label products here. So that's the first example. Let's have a look at another example. So we've done yoga mat and acupressure, argan oil. We've already looked at argan oil in another video, so we'll look at how we can repackage argan oil using different containers and bottles. We'll look at how we can repurpose products to make private label products. So here we've got a Carnauba car wax listing, sold at $12.99. Again, in another video we've looked at how we can source auto detailing products, private label. And now the reason I'm showing you this example is because of the repurposing method of creating private label products. So if you look at these other two listings below, now you'll see that this product is sold at the higher price point at $26.25 to this product. So it's more than double. It's been sold at more than double the price, and basically they're both waxers or polishers. It's just that this one is a Carnauba spray that is being sold, marketed to the auto trade, whereas this wax is being marketed to a different niche as a premium marine wax. So you can see how you can repurpose products. It's probably just similar, very similar product inside. You just get a premium wax, and as long as you understand that this wax is going to be useful for the purpose and it's not going to do damage, obviously there's research involved there, but you can see how you can easily bump the price up based on being niche specific and repurposing products for your niche. So that's a great example of adding value and by repurposing. So let's have a look at some other examples here. Organic tea and aromatherapy blend. So this is how you could create visual ranges of products. Let's open these two listings. Just examples of how you could start with one product and then create a whole range around your niche. So look at this one, matcha green tea, $25. It's just in a bag of tea, so you could start with one product. So it's like a healthy tea, quite a high price point there. You see is using great product images showing how you can use the product for different purposes. Again, is giving away an organic recipe book using the ingredients. So that's a great marketing strategy to include with your purchase, a downloadable guide. And obviously you can insert things like leaflets into the product packaging, or even ask your buyers to come back to your website with an after-sales email if that's allowed. Obviously you have to keep within the rules and regulations that Amazon specify. That's adding value. Again, we'll look at this inhaler product. Looks like in this aromatherapy respiratory blend. So it's just a basic aromatherapy product, but you see how he's bumped the price up and he's getting loads of reviews by, obviously he's using a great listing here, but he's using really nice products, 3D graphics and all the things we talked about. So another product where you could develop an entire range around aromatherapy inhalers. Let's have a look at some other examples. What else have we got? How else can we add value with packaging? I won't go through all of these, but I'll open a few of them. First, we've got a Sky bottle by the Sky brand. This looks like a normal plastic bottle that's decorative, and it's got a whole range of different bottles there. The price is pretty high just for a plastic bottle. You can see how he's filled them up to make nice images there. And this is an example of adding value. It just got something really decorative. It's making really great pictures here, full of the fruits and different drinks. So this looks like you're adding value using the packaging and the images. Simple product, very clean, looks very nice, and you can see how that will sell easily for just over $10. And again, it's just got a simple logo printed on the front of the bottle, a plastic bottle. Let's have a look at some other examples. So this one is so it looks like the chilled rocks, something you put in the these are chilled rocks. Maybe you could you put them in the freezer and they become cool, and you use these instead of your ice cubes. Again, you can see how it's basically very simple product that the guy's probably had branded with his logo on the box. Let's have a look at the packaging. So this square box here, you could get a really nice design, get your designer to make a design, get the manufacturer to print the packaging. You can see how that will be a start of a new novelty item brand, or something to do with home and garden. Another great example of something using packaging to add value. Basically, it's some stone pebbles that can be frozen and are probably made from a material that retains the coolness of the chilled freezer, and basically the packaging adds value. You've got a nice little bag here with a logo on and a nice packaging box. Again, really simple product. Let's see if we can find a manufacturer or supplier for this. So it's been sold at $19.95. We'll go over to our preferred trade directory. Let's have a look at some of the chilling rocks. So chilling rocks, let's type that in. High quality whiskey stones. Again, here straight away we've got a bunch of suppliers trading these products. Then straight away we can see that these are branded differently, so some of these guys are going to have OEM, hopefully. Again, I'll press Control and find on my keyboard, type in OEM to search the web page without having to look, and straight away OEM, yes, there we go. So they do here we go, sample time 1 to 2 days after artwork approved. You can be selling your own brand of chilled stones to place in your drink. Okay, so how much are these here? If you can see what they're being sold on Amazon, it's $20, and obviously that's a huge amount they're selling. 1,000 pieces, you can get them between 50 cents and $1.50. You can buy these, and they're being sold on Amazon for $20, just under, with your own brand label and own packaging. A great example there of a basically simple product that you can start your own brand around. Be imaginative with what else you can sell a lot around this product. Let's have a look at some more examples. The Victorio Kitchen Seed Sprouter. Again, $17 product. Seed Sprouter. Let's have a look at our trade directory. While we're doing that, we'll look at how many reviews this has got. 760 reviews. So what it is, it looks like plastic trays. Simple plastic trays. That's all it is. And it's been sold at $17. Seed Sprouter. So that looks like a more expensive version. It seems to have more. Let's have a look what this is. So this is $20 to $30 a set, but you can see there's a lot more to this one here, which is basically looks like just plastic tubs. So even a premium version of this product, if you see a basic product selling well, there could be a market for a premium version. Obviously do your own research. Let's have a look at other types of seed sprouters here. Ideally we want to find one very similar to compare apples to apples. So a little more tricky, probably take a little bit more searching. I'm sure you can find the exact same product. Include it in a premium packaging, add your own free seeds targeted to a specific niche, specific maybe plant or something like that, and certainly create your own range. I'd certainly look at a premium version as well. And how much is this one? Okay, so we don't have prices, we have to request prices, but you can see what I'm getting at here. You can see how easy it is to find suppliers, request prices. Let's have a look at some more examples here. Sliced popsicles, beverage stone, ice machine. What else? Grass growing kit. Again, bundles. So have a look at this grass growing kit. This is a bundle, a set, simple grass seed, and he's bundling it up with a kit, like a grower's kit. And for this reason, it's $35 just for grass seed. And his Living Whole Foods is his brand. You could probably put your own brand and get these packaged into a little box, and you sell that as your own brand kit. Put the price up, and as long as you've done your research and developed your brand or created your products around the information in the course, there's no reason why you can't enter any of these markets with a winning brand and winning product. Again, I just want to show you 3 examples of how to bundle. The last example then we'll show you just for now. A chocolate fountain. Very popular product, 356 reviews. The packaging, so it's a simple box. You could have that redesigned, package yourself. And then once you're selling the chocolate fountain, what else could you sell with that? Well, a quick search, and you've got this chocolate dispensing funnel. You could include that to your brand, and also a silicone chocolate jelly and candy mold, sold at $12. A lot of people are buying it. It's a simple silicone mold, isn't it? Package these up as a kit, put it in one box with your brand on it, and you have a little range going already. Just a quick example there of some of the products and some of the methods that we're talking about, how easily you can find opportunities and how easily you can find suppliers who will create your own branding on the product. You then can move on to include information as you're selling your products, and there's a lot of different opportunities you can include into your business once you establish 2 or 3 products into your range. Okay, so I hope this has been useful, these examples. It's in there to download this spreadsheet for your own use, just so you can look at the examples again if you like. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Hi, this is Tom, and I've just got a quick video here, and I'm going to talk about discover how to talk the same language to get the upper hand when dealing with international and local suppliers. So you want to get noticed and lay the foundation for a perfect customer-supplier relationship. And you can use these ideal first contact email templates that I put together in this cheat sheet. And so let me just show you these examples of emails that I sent to a couple of private label product manufacturers. Actually, one of them was advertising private label products. The other manufacturer wasn't advertising to private label at all. I just asked them if they could do it for me. And so the 2 examples in this cheat sheet, then I'll just go through these. These are real emails that I sent to suppliers to contact them about private labeling products for me. So the first one then, this one is, I contacted a supplier in China, and it was a wholesaler. I could tell from after doing your research of who you're dealing with, you can look at their website and look at what they do. And I could tell that this guy was probably a wholesaler, and he was based in China. So he wasn't the actual manufacturer. And so as you'll see from these email examples, I used a slightly different email style of how I talked to the contact. Now, because this guy was a wholesaler and kind of a middleman, an in-between man, he had a product that I thought would be suitable for my brand. So I contacted him and said, I like your product, and I actually bought a sample. I said, dear supplier, hello, I'm looking for new products for my retail business in the country I'm located, and I'm interested in your X product. So X is just representing the product, whichever product that may be. I said, I'm happy to buy sample units, although first I do have a question, please. And so straight away, I said, I'm happy to buy sample units. So straight away, the guy knows. You've got to think that these guys this was actually on AliExpress.com. So it's AliExpress, if you haven't heard of it, I'm sure you have. It's a kind of a sister site to Alibaba.com. AliExpress is, we can buy products in smaller quantities. Alibaba is usually the manufacturer's directory. So at AliExpress.com, it's a great place to buy initial samples. And so straight away, you can imagine this guy has probably heard it all before. You know, I want samples, and he's probably been stung, has sent samples out, sent them for free, and never heard anything back. And the chances are a lot of these wholesalers on there have done that. And so straight away I've said, I'm happy to buy sample units. I'm giving him a reason to respond to me. I'm a buyer. I'm ready to spend my money with you. So this guy will be interested in sending a response to me. I'm sure if they get swamped by emails, I'm sure some of them they wouldn't respond to. Especially if they're a really successful wholesaler, if they're getting swamped by emails, straight away that statement says, I'm happy to buy from you. And then I ask my question, although first I do have a question. I'm saying, is it possible to send samples to my office in my location via EMS? Now EMS is simply it's one of the postal services used over there in China, if you've imported from China before. It's not the emergency services, but it's the name of the postal service, and they're pretty good. For small packages, EMS are pretty quick, 2 to 5 days international delivery, so I use them. So I asked, can you use these guys, because they're pretty cheap. So I want the samples quickly, I want to buy them from you, and can you use this postal service? Also, if I were to buy several hundred pieces, is it possible to change the brand name logo on the product? So already I'm saying, look, I don't just want to buy a couple of samples here, or up to 10 units, I'm looking for several hundred pieces. And if I do this, so I'm trying to gain his interest here, and if I do this, can you change the brand name and the logo on the product? Now, manufacturers in Asia, I've found, can be very flexible. If you're a good customer, they can be very flexible and accommodating for the business. There's some companies maybe who are really established who would say, oh no, it's not worth our while to play around in our manufacturing process just for this small guy who wants to buy a few hundred pieces. But because there's so many businesses, will probably be accommodating if you ask them to do this for you, if you're buying a decent quantity. And this guy I was contacting, I knew he was a middleman, and so obviously a few hundred pieces is probably a good order to him, and so he's going to try his best to approach the manufacturer. Him being a Chinese guy, and well, I'm assuming so, with his name was Chinese name, so I'm assuming he would go to the manufacturer, whatever relationship he has with that manufacturer. But now all of a sudden you've got a Chinese guy approaching the manufacturer asking to do this, rather than myself being a Westerner approaching them to do it. So, but you can see it's very simple, it's very straightforward. There's no technical terms involved or anything. I just simply basically asked the question, I stated what I'm looking for, but also I made sure I included it wasn't all about me. I also offered that I'm happy to buy samples from you, and I'm happy to buy several hundred pieces. So I'm actually trying to get his interest into responding to me and working with me. And I finished the line, please let me know and I will buy a sample right away. So that's basically, you know, I've got my money in my hand here, ready to hand over. I'm just waiting for your response. He responded to me pretty quickly, actually. I just replied, dear supplier name, hi and thank you for your samples. I actually went ahead and bought the sample. And yes, I do like this product. He actually came back to me and said, hey, what do you think of the sample? Do you like it? And so, yeah, he was obviously keen on working with me. So, yeah, hi, and thank you for your samples. And yes, I do like this product. In fact, I would very much like to place an order for the larger quantity. Although my problem is the logo and packaging. So this guy is obviously interested in working with me. And he knows I've paid the money up front, so he knows I'm a paying customer. And now I'm saying all of a sudden, I like the product, I'm ready to buy a few hundred pieces, but you know, it's the logo and packaging that is the problem. So he's going to go back to the manufacturer and ask them if they can do the logo and packaging for me. So I said, are there any opportunities to rebrand, spelling typo there, rebrand this product and put our logo. I think he'll understand what I mean by put our logo on the product and packaging. Please let me know if this is possible and what your minimum order quantities would be for the product with our own logo design applied. Possibly you would need to contact the factory for this information, please. So he's going to know that he needs to contact the factory, but I'm just basically reassuring him and trying to instill that act now, you know, go to the factory and ask these guys if they can do it for me, please. Okay, so that worked well. We ended up buying the product and we sold it on Amazon, rebranded it, and we did quite well. with this product. So this email template is something you can use if you're contacting like a supplier who's maybe an in-between guy, a wholesaler, or a less sophisticated manufacturer who's maybe a very small manufacturer, doesn't use the technical terms, etc. Now I've got another example here, and this is a totally different style of email for my initial contact, and this is because it was an established manufacturer I was contacting directly. They're in the US. Now it doesn't matter where they were based, whether in the US or anywhere else, because they were an established manufacturer and they're a pretty big company. They were a really big company. So this is an email communication I would use with these guys. So a little bit more corporate style email here. So dear supplier, we are a company business. So I put my company business name straight in there to tell them that you're dealing with a real business. I'm just like got a real business and a company here. So sometimes these big manufacturers have issues dealing with individuals rather than businesses, and so that's why I stated that. I said I'm registered and doing business in the location, and I'm interested in placing an order with your company for your private label product. I mentioned the product. Would you be kind enough to provide details of your private label program requirements and information about your products, and what the minimum order quantities and pricing would be for this product? So far, straightforward. We are keen to include a certain product of your products into our current product portfolio, and I look forward to any information you can provide at your earliest convenience, please. Looking forward to hearing from you. It's just a basic request, but I did mention there, if you noticed, include it into our current product portfolio. So this, whoever's reading this is thinking, well, we're an established business, we know where we're doing business, and we've got a current product portfolio. So we're an operating business. We know what we're doing. We are successful. Obviously, if we're looking for new products to include, then we could be a potentially good customer. And they responded. They responded and sent me prices. I continued doing my research about the product and gathering information. Then it may be 3 or 4 weeks later, I emailed back. I said, dear supplier name. And I told them, I said it was a little amount of time since you kindly provided pricing information for your products. And after reviewing your quotation, I was hoping you would also provide a price for another product, since we might also be able to include this with our initial order. So what I did is I went away with the initial price list, and what he did, he sent me a full price list of all the products they had. So all of a sudden I had a full list of prices. I could do a lot more research, and there was something else that I saw in there that they were offering that, well, we don't need to just private label one product, we could get this other product as well. So that's why I asked them, yeah, I'm very interested and I want information on the other products you have as well. I told them I have a standard logo and a label design that we use for our brand. I could forward the high resolution logo file to you in Photoshop or to your designer if this would be suitable to use as our private label logo and design. So the reason I stated that, basically we know what we're doing because I've just mentioned high resolution logo. So the artwork in what the designer requires is going to be high resolution, which basically means like a camera, they have megapixels for the high resolution, don't they? LCD screens, things like that. So on print, it's the amount of dots. So I'm referring to a high resolution logo file. I said I've got the logo in Photoshop if your designer could use this. And it's just a basic, standard, simple logo. Nothing too special, we just want the basic private label program. If you require a different file format, please do let me know your requirements. Our logo is a simple 2-color logo. Would you kindly advise availability and prices, and upon your confirmation and acceptance, I would like to proceed with the order as quickly as possible. We can take delivery at our address here. I look forward to your response at your earliest convenience. You can see the difference between this second email to the first template I used for sending to a wholesaler in China who was a middleman. So in this one I'm using a little bit more corporate style email. I'm using a couple of terms so he understands that I know what I'm talking about, and hopefully they'll want to work with us and be happy to work with us. So there's a couple of different email templates that you can use or might be useful to you. And I just put a note at the bottom here. It's very rare, but some manufacturers are already established and they've got a lot of business, and they really don't need more business to keep their facility running, or they're at the maximum capacity, should I say. And it doesn't matter if a small guy comes along and orders a few hundred products, because they're making maybe 50,000, 100,000 products for their existing long-term established customers, and they're already up to capacity. So if you really see a product that you really want, and it's only a manufacturer like this who can do it for you, then there's a few things you can do. You just want to really go after them and keep asking them if they can do it for you. Tell them you're serious, reassure them you know what you're doing, reassure them that you are a good customer. And basically, I just put a tip here. You can also put up a web page with your already designed brand and logo on there. Maybe you had a graphic illustration of the product already made by a designer. A designer can make a representation of the finished product for you before you even get the product. So you could even put that on a web page with brand and logo and saying this product's coming soon, and you could send that to an email to your manufacturer and saying, look, this is our brand, we're just waiting for the right guys to be able to produce this for us. So that's another way of trying to persuade your manufacturer, who might be a little bit more difficult to reach, to work with you. Okay, so those are the email templates. I hope this is useful to you, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Hey, it's Tom. In this short video, I'm going to be talking about negotiating with new suppliers to make money when you spend money. So with this kind of business, private label products, and when you're branding new products, there is going to be an initial investment required. Now, you can start with as little as $50 to buy your first products to brand. Although, when you get some traction and your business starts to grow a little bit, and you get some momentum, you're going to want to invest in more products. Now, when you're contacting new suppliers, it makes sense to get the best deal. So the same goes with private label products. And let's face it, not all suppliers are the same. Different skills are required to be able to negotiate with different kinds of suppliers and the representatives that you'll communicate with directly. Now, in another video, I provide some email templates for communicating with different types of suppliers. So you want to negotiate amicably with your new suppliers, and ideally you want them to willingly support you and your business. You want to make it your mission to convince your supplier to see you as a preferred customer. And once you've established a good relationship with your suppliers, you'll be in a good position to get the support with your private label goals. So for instance, if you started off with a private label supplier and just used their in-house standard program, some manufacturers will already have a private label program they're available to use. Now, it's okay to go in and say, I want this, and can you change this and do this? And that's fine. Although, you've got to make it worth the while. If they're going to go the extra mile for you and make some additional modifications to their existing private label products, you're going to want to order a decent quantity. So when you're first starting out, you might want to just use their in-house private label program. So it might just include changing the brand name of the product or changing the label design, but use their existing materials. But once you've got a good relationship with your supplier and you're ordering regular quantities, there's no reason why you can't request to change and make modifications to the packaging to make your brand a little bit special or stand out, or to even modify the product itself to make it really unique to your brand. So partnering with the supplier is a really big deal. After all, you'll be entering into a business relationship, and if you plan on building long-term relationships with your suppliers, then you'll want to be able to get along and work together. So of course, you do want to be able to get the best deal and support for your own business as well. You'll also want to become a good customer. So look at it this way: if you currently have any customers of your own who you currently provide products and services to, I'm sure that there are some customers that you would prefer in your own business over others. It's part of doing business. You'll always receive some complaints, although I'm sure you'll have some customers who you prefer, who buy continuously all the time, who support your business, give you good feedback and reviews, and basically want to become involved. And this is a great opportunity to build a relationship with your supplier as a good customer. So you do want to get the best deals for your business, although this is part of the negotiation process. And you want to make money when you buy. So, for example, any savings that you're able to negotiate that are fair to the supplier. So here are a few examples. It's kind of, I'm stating the obvious here, but for the benefit of anyone who hasn't purchased large amounts of stock before, we'll just go into a few examples. So let's say, for example, you want to buy 100 units of a product for $7 each. Now, if you're able to negotiate an additional 30-cent discount per unit, it might not sound a lot, but when you scale your business and begin ordering more units, it certainly adds up over time. So here are some examples in this cheat sheet listed. So if you buy 100 units at $7, the cost is $700. But if you get your 30 cents discount, you're saving $30 over 100 units. The same cost comparison over 500 units, you'd be spending $3,500. But if you got your 30-cent discount per unit, you'd be saving $150. Again, if you order 1,000 units, you'd be saving $300. And 2,000 units, you'd be saving $600. Now, 2,000 units is a lot to buy. At $7 a piece, it would amount to $14,000 of product and inventory. That's quite a lot. But you would be saving $600, which is profit to your bottom line. And you might be thinking, well, I'm not ready to buy $14,000 worth of stock right now. And if you're not ordering these quantities in one go, if you plan to build and scale your business the right way, it's certainly not uncommon to need to order 2,000 units of one product over the course of a 6 or 12-month period, and especially if you're following the other modules in this course. So 2,000 units is actually a small amount when you consider that you're going to be having a good product strategically positioned in the marketplace. And hopefully you'll build up to that quantity over time. Of course, we start off small. $50 to $100 maybe is all you need to get started. But keep in mind, when your business does scale, these are the kind of quantities you want to be aiming to order. So when you're sourcing new products, remember that you also make money when you buy. So in the example above, we mentioned just a small 30-cent discount, amounting to a $600 saving if you were to buy 2,000 units. Now, imagine you've been doing this for quite a while, maybe 6 months to a year, and now you have 5 products. You have 5 products in your brand, and now you've saved 30 cents on each. Multiply the saving of $600 by 5 products, and now you've already saved $3,500 just on the buying process at the time you buy your product. Now, I'm sure you prefer to keep an extra $3,500 in your pocket if you're already getting a fair deal on both sides. So, you can also save dollars in other areas of your business. Now, undoubtedly, when you do grow your business and grow your brands and start private labeling products, as your business expands, you'll find that you will be using other services. And the same process, when you're using other services, negotiate up front, ask for the discount. It might be more difficult to do this when you're starting out, but as soon as you get some traction as your volume increases, always try and negotiate with your suppliers. So another example of the situation where you can save a lot of money is if you use your own website and you're taking credit card payments through a merchant account. So call your merchant account, and if you're doing considerable volume, ask for a discount. Even a small 1% discount per transaction can amount to thousands of extra dollars in your pocket over the year. And of course you'll be making money when you sell your private label products by adding value, although you want to set up your physical product business to be as profitable as it can be. This is why negotiating the best deal when you buy something is always a good start. On the other hand, you should always be a good customer to your supplier, as we've mentioned. And if you try to cut them and push them too much, the incentive to supply you and help you won't be as appealing, maybe. So I always try to negotiate, but I always like to be fair with my suppliers to build up a good relationship. Business can change fast, and if you have a good relationship in your industry, you'll be well placed to call upon and leverage your supplier friendships to help you and adapt to those changes. So 5 things to consider. You do want to convince your suppliers that you're a good customer and potentially a high value customer. You want your suppliers to know that you have a solid plan for your business and you know where it's heading. You want to show your suppliers that you know what you're doing and what you're talking about in your industry. You want to convince your suppliers that you're not a one-trick pony and that you're reliable, consistent, and around for the long term. And you definitely want your payments to arrive on time as agreed. Although please always research your supplier's business and be cautious of sending payments to new suppliers. So when dealing with new suppliers, look at the website, look at the business name, do some searches on Google of the business name, look around the website, does it look professional? Even maybe try to order a product. Does their ordering system look good? Is there a support link? Can you get in contact with their support team? Are the telephone numbers easily available? Especially if you're sending payments by bank wire or by Western Union. These are kind of payments that you have no protection with and cannot retrieve if there's ever any problems. I always try and make a payment with a debit card or a credit card, or even use PayPal, or possibly even an escrow service for your first payments with a new supplier. Although some suppliers won't be able to offer these, so always be 100% sure that you're sending your money to an honest supplier. This can be a little bit tricky at first, but you can ask for contacts of existing customers and talk to those existing customers to see how they're being supplied by the new supplier. So just a few tips there for helping you secure the deal and to save money when purchasing your private label product inventory. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Okay, so next we're going to look at how to get your product manufactured, packed and shipped without even lifting a finger. Now obviously, if you're following the whole course, then you want to already have seen how we locate our suppliers, how we can find manufacturers on Alibaba, etc. And basically you're acting as a project manager. So you can do all of this from the comfort of your own home and get the product designed by your designer, get it packaged by your manufacturer, and get it shipped using different shipping methods straight to Amazon FBA. The most extensive and thorough detailed information you can find on selling on Amazon and using FBA, etc., and selling on other places as well as Amazon is obviously the Proven Amazon course, Jim Cockrum's course, Proven Amazon course. And so certainly send your product straight to the Amazon FBA warehouses and use the Proven Amazon course to learn how to really win and dominate using FBA. If you're selling outside of Amazon, you can obviously use fulfillment centers. So if you haven't already, I would definitely recommend you check out those two resources. Okay, so getting your product from the manufacturer to these warehouses, fulfillment centers and FBA, obviously use preferred carriers. You might have your own preferred carriers. I like FedEx. They're very efficient. They're very cost effective. Again, if you're sending from places like China or Far East, use EMS. The service similar to FedEx, but they originate obviously out in the Far East. So EMS is a good service to use for shipping products, and that's for smaller amounts. If you're shipping large quantities, so say you've already got your first samples sold and you've bought your next lot of inventory and you're really going for a bigger quantity this time, then you can use cargo agents. So these are the guys who you will do a search on Google for cargo or cargo agent, and these are the guys who can import your goods for you from overseas. Okay, let's have a look at a few examples then. So these kind of companies already have established private label programs in place. Now, one thing to note is I would definitely stick to a theme or a chosen niche rather than jumping around from one to another. And if you target a niche where you can include different products from different manufacturers, from different industries, that's going to be a lot more targeted than simply saying, hey, I'm going to create a full range of skincare products, because there's already large companies out there who have huge brands who are dominating those markets. So in here there's things like nutritional supplements and vitamins. Now, unless you really do have some qualification in nutritional supplements and vitamins, unless you really do have a reason to include one of these products into your brand, then I wouldn't choose the niche itself. For example, I wouldn't advocate trying to develop a full range of skincare products, because your competition are people like Unilever and Procter & Gamble. But certainly you can maybe include one or two of these products into an existing range of products. Okay, so that's nutritional supplements and skincare. I'll just open this website just to show you. So this company, for example, they have a whole range of different supplements here. And if you look at they do labels and wholesale, all these different wholesale products. And the services they offer includes private labeling, so you can certainly include one or two of these products into your range or brand. Let's have a look at a spa private label. So this company looks like they have a private label program. Eye gels, lip retractable brush, gentle eye makeup, and different skincare products and beauty products. Let's have a look at something else. Blitzing. This is a kind of niche. This is like jewelry cleaners, sports cleaners, cleaners for music. Let's open that website and have a look. So what have these got? You can see here, available for private label, jewelry care kits, housewares, sporting goods care, private label, cleaners, polishing cloths, metal polish, silver care, stainless steel care, copper polish, and what have we got here? These look like sports cleaners. So silicone gun and reel cloth, bow care cloth. And can you see how these are being targeted for different niches? You've got a golf club scrub, a golf shoe renew, golf care kit, and scope and binocular cloth. Now they'll be the same cloth. Obviously some research gone into if these cloths can be used for these different items, but obviously it's been using the same cloth but changing the packaging and targeting it to a different niche. Firearm wipes. So lots of interesting things there. Now that's the kind of thing I'm talking about when you're choosing your theme and your niche. Let's have a look at another one. So chemical guys. These guys do car detailing, polishers and waxers for vehicles. Now these do private label. It looks like they offer all their products private label. So you've got soaps for cars, clay bars, car detailing, cleaners for interiors and trim and accessories. So they do lots of different things there. But let me just show you an example of what I mean by including some of these products into a brand. Because obviously each of these industries already has large companies that dominate those industries. But what you could do is, for example, if you were targeting the yoga niche and you wanted to build a brand around yoga, so what products could we include in selling to the yoga niche? Well, we could sell books and training videos. Let's go over to Alibaba.com. Now Alibaba, I think I've mentioned it. It's one of the main trade directories. A lot of foreign international companies on here. So if we just type in yoga into Alibaba, so what could we include in our yoga brand? Okay, straight away we've got a yoga mat that we could include. So we could look at private labeling a yoga mat from as little as $2. The price does go up, but if you buy enough units, they're looking at 500 pieces. You could get them as cheap as $2, and I'm sure you could shop around and get them cheaper. That's just the first one we looked at. So we could private label a yoga mat with our own logo, custom printed. There you go, custom printed yoga mat. So we know we can get a yoga mat. Yoga wear fitness sets. Now I'm sure you could get your logo or brand name embroidered or printed, or even just tags applied to your yoga wear fitness apparel. So that's two products. We could include our private label supplement. So maybe yoga enthusiasts would be interested in a particular supplement, particular one that you could bring into your brand. So that's what I mean by incorporating some of these existing private label products into your brand. So there we've got three products already: a yoga mat, a supplement, and a yoga fitness set, apparel to wear, yoga gym foam roller trigger point, exercise rollers. So that's something else, as little as 50 pieces. And if we do a Control F and do a OEM, and they do OEM, so we know that OEM is private label. They will do contract manufacturing private label for us. And you can see there, can't you? You can see a logo just going on the end there. Maybe if it comes in a box, design that to fit your brand. So that's already 4 products we could include in a yoga brand. So what else could we include in our yoga brand? We've got a hopping ball. That looks like a child's hopping ball. Okay, we've got a gym ball, yoga ball, so maybe that one would be suitable. Okay, from 50 cents to $5 a piece, depending on how many you buy. But again, if you need smaller quantities to test things out, you can always go to aliexpress.com. And do these do OEM? Let's do a quick search for OEM. Yes, they do. OEM service welcome. So already, if your chosen theme, your chosen niche was yoga, We've already got a yoga mat, apparel, we could include a supplement, a yoga ball, the massage trigger point accessory. So that's already 5 products that we could include in our yoga brand, including a DVD and a book, and that's 7 products. You could package them all up, sell them individually, and already you've got a small range of branded products for your yoga niche. Okay, so certainly use these examples to give you inspiration and ideas of how you can include things into your brands. And of course, these are only examples. If you've already watched the other videos in this course, you'll already know how to do simple searches to be able to find private label suppliers and manufacturers for almost any industry. Okay, so certainly take a look at this cheat sheet to get examples and stimulate new ideas. Talk to you soon.